The other issue that I frequently get asked about by clients, which pertains to meetings, is what I would call decision-making rights. Who gets to make the decision at the end of the discussion? Does everyone sitting around the table know who gets to make the decision at the end of the discussion and the way in which that person or persons or group is going to make the decision? Does everybody understand the criteria? As far as I've come across, there appear to be 4 different kinds of decision-making rights. You may well know of others, and you may well know of subtleties within these 4 broad categories of decision-making rights. The first one, in many ways, in some ways, one could argue the simplest one, is autocracy. The leader decides. There's a subset of that called consultation. The leader decides, but she or he consults first in order to find out what the people who will be affected by the decision think about the decision. And she or he listens with genuine interest and without interruption to that thinking and makes sure that everyone to whom this decision pertains gets an opportunity to share their thinking. And then, having really taken other people's thinking into account, the leader decides. So there's autocracy, and then there's consultation. Then there's democracy. The majority decides. The thing about democracy is that we have to get very good at managing power and power differentials, which is a topic for another video. But it's a commonplace decision-making right. It's the one that we use to elect governments. And if you look around the world at some of the governments that you have, you might start to wonder about democracy. But nonetheless, it's a way in which we can make a decision based on what the majority of the people round the table think and feel about which way we should go. And if it's a thinking environment meeting, and if the person leading the meeting is genuinely interested in everybody's thinking, she or he will probably do something in order to find out what the people who are not voting for this decision would need in order to get on board with it. Maybe a time frame. We'll go this way for a while and see how we go with this. And then at that certain point in time, which we all agree on, we'll come back and see whether this was the right decision and think about it some more. So can you, within this time frame, be willing to go along with this decision that the majority of people are voting for, even if it's not the one you would have chosen? Something like that, so that people don't just feel run roughshod over. The 4th decision-making process is called consensus. Consensus is hardly ever used in organisational life for one very pragmatic reason, which is that it takes time. It takes a lot of time to get to consensus. It'll take a great many more rounds than autocracy or even consultation or democracy will take. Consensus is for those decisions where if everybody really isn't on board, we know in our heart of hearts it's just not going to work. That no matter what we decide, if we don't use consensus as our decision-making process for this particular issue, the ones that are really important and that are going to deeply and profoundly affect every person round the table's future, those are the decisions. Those are the times when we need the decision of consensus. That's the time when you'll be grateful that you're running your meeting in a thinking environment more than at any other time, because continual rounds with people who are genuinely interested in each other's thinking, with people who are willing to concede their point of view in favour of someone else's because they've been applying the component of difference, and so they've been challenging their own viewpoint and opening themselves up to the viewpoints of others, and they've been able along the way to be able to go, you know what, if I'm really honest, he or she makes a good point. I could concede mine in favour of what they're saying. So consensus can be achieved. It takes time, it takes a lot of maturity, and it definitely takes a thinking environment.